Townhouses, one of the biggest shocks that I've seen this month from this market report. Look at the inventory that the townhouse market is currently seeing in Calgary. Is this the end of crazy busy townhouses in Calgary? Is this just a hiccup? Are we waiting for the interest rate to reduce? What is going on? Let's check it out. My name is Fyfe, your Calgary realtor, and let's just dive right into it. So the Bank of Canada has reduced the interest rate by 0.25%. So for townhouses that are 461,000, let's kind of run through some scenarios. But before I touch on this, I just want to make sure that you understand. One, this is written with ChatGPT. So let's take this with a grain of salt. Two, this does not replace a conversation with your mortgage professional. You really want to make sure that if you are actively looking at getting a mortgage, you chat with someone first. These numbers are very high level. So let's make sure we understand that. So with this recent rate reduction of 0.25, people can, with 5% down, expect to have a reduction of around $61 per month on their interest rate and an increase of around $12,000 for their purchasing power if they were looking in this price range of $461,000, right? So we do run the scenarios at 10% and 20%. Again, this is very high level. The reason I'm bringing this up is because I just wasn't sure if the Bank of Canada was going to actually reduce it by 0.25 or 0.5. Because the Bank of Canada reduced it by 0.25, I do expect a little bit more activity in September, but not as much activity as what it could have been if they reduced it by 0.5. Now, if they reduced it by 0.5, look at the difference. You double, right? You would have seen a decrease of $122 per month at 5% down, or an increase of $24,000 going all the way up to $486 for your purchasing power if they reduced it by 0.5. Now they didn't, but if they did, this is what I was anticipating could have happened if that were possible. And if that were possible, that would probably made the Calgary real estate market go through a frenzy, at least for the months of September. But now, what happened in this market? So let's read what the Calgary Real Estate Board has written about the market. If you want to read it on your own, pause the video, skip to the next chapter. New listing row for homes priced above 400,000. Contributing to year-to-date growth of nearly 16%. That was a really broken sentence. At the same time, slower sales over the past 3 months have contributed to inventory gains. In August, there were 660 units available, a 75% increase over the exceptionally low levels reported last year. While inventories are still low by historical standards, as with other property types, this shift is helping ease pressure on home prices. The unadjusted benchmark price in August was $461,000, slightly lower than last month, but 12% higher than August last year. Monthly adjustments were not consistent across districts, with adjustments in City Center, Northwest, North, and West districts mostly driving monthly declines. Okay, despite the monthly adjustments, year-over-year prices remain higher than last year across all districts and range from a low of 10% in the city center to a high of 26% in East Calgary. Sorry, I've definitely tripped over my words there, but I'm not going to redo this. So that's what you get. You can definitely see that the market is slowing down, but historically, we're still at very tense, low levels of inventory, and we're still going to most likely see some price increases in this market. So let's continue on. Now, this is fascinating. I was not expecting this when I looked at townhouses. Look at the inventory increase and the sale decrease. We went from sale highs in May all the way down to some sales lows year in August. So the inventory and the sales are absolutely crazy. I would imagine people probably held off to buy townhouses just to see what happened with this interest rate decrease, right? Was it going to be 0.5? Was it going to be 2.5? But I did not expect it to be this high of inventory. Like, again, historically, this is still quite low of inventory. But when you compare to the very low amounts of inventory that we've had over the last 12 months, this is actually quite crazy. We've increased by about 200 units at the end of the day. Now, 200 units in Calgary really isn't that much, right? You think Calgary's huge, right? There's a very large city here. But when you see the sales decrease and the inventories increase like this, you would imagine that we're probably going to see a softening going almost right until next year. So let's continue on and see if this is all throughout the same quadrants of Calgary, or if this is just one-off. Now, this one's quite interesting. This is the same information, but in a numerical value as the previous slide. So you can see the sales were decreased, the inventories increased quite a bit, the new listings increased as well, and the days on market is 25 days. Okay, 25 days on the market is the slowest that it's been almost all last year, right? So obviously in December's and January and February's, the days on market increases quite rapidly because the market's quite slow, but 25 days is relatively slow compared to what we're used to, right? Are we going to continue to see that increase? You can see the benchmark is decreased, right? $4,000. You can see the median price actually increased, but the average price decreased, right? Again, this is city as a whole. We need to break this down into quadrants to make sure that we understand what's going on in your neighborhood or your area of interest. So let's continue on. Now, year to date, again, you're looking at sales. You can see that historically, we're actually at very high levels of sales. We did see a huge influx in sales in the spring, and that obviously is offsetting a lot of these year-to-date numbers, but we are noticing a slowdown now in August. It will be interesting to see the year-to-dates in September and October, November, to see if we actually slow down so much that the year-to-date stuff is going to start to shift and look different. The new listings, we can see that we're actually more than we were last year. I remember saying at the beginning of the year, we need more new listings in this market to slow it down, and we got it. We've got more new listings. The inventory's increased. We're noticing a slowdown in this market. But let's start to break it down a little bit more. Skip that one for now. Look at months of supply. So months of supply is a really good indicator as to what things are happening. I got to blur that out. What things are happening in the market. This just really goes to show how fast the market is moving. You can see that the slowest market right now is North Calgary, which is fairly surprising, right? Usually it's city center, but for some reason the North market is the slowest, and we'll touch on that in a second in the microeconomic breakdown of each individual quadrant. But if you look at other places, East Calgary, Northwest, West, South, Southeast, they're all relatively fast, right? These are still seller market conditions. So just because the market is slowed down, we still need to make sure that you're getting into the market with the right mindset and knowing that, yes, it's still seller territory in most quadrants. It's not going to slow down everywhere, but it is slowing down as a total. Now, let's continue on. This is the benchmark price. I say this every time. These are really, really great numbers to know. It's really cool to see the differences in price, but there's a link in the description. You just want to make sure that you're going over to the townhouse market here, and you're actually looking at what is going on for these attributes. Like as an example, no garage, right, in Northeast, no garage in East, no basement in Southeast. So when you're looking at these price points, let's factor into the matter that these don't have garages, right? In East Calgary and Northeast Calgary, for these price points, East Calgary and Northeast Calgary, you would notice that these prices would actually increase pretty dramatically if there was a garage there. So yes, you can see the differences in price points, but you do want to make sure you put in the attributes into play and having a knowledgeable understanding of what is actually being presented to you. So this is going to be the actual the year-over-year price growth. Look at the price growth of East Calgary, right? The most affordable quadrant in the entire city has seen the most amount of growth. It's pretty obvious, over 25%. Northeast, again, one of the more affordable quadrants in the entire city, still seeing almost 20% year-over-year increase. So pretty large increases for the townhouse market. If you are curious about what your home is valued at, this tool here is amazing. If you just put in your address here, you have to wait for the drop down to come. So you just click this, get my report, put in your information. Me or someone from my team is going to call you. We're going to thank you. We're going to ask you questions. And if you're not looking to sell, that's fine. If you're looking to refinance, we'll get you connected with a mortgage professional. If you're looking at just figuring out what the heck your property is valued at, we're more than happy to help. It's instant, it's quick, it's easy, and there's no obligation. There's no pressure. So thank you so much for everyone who's actually gone ahead and put their information in. So let's look at this microeconomic breakdown, okay? So you've got your sales, you've got your new listings, you've got your sales to new listings ratio. We're actually below 60%. You can see North, like mentioned before, they had a slower market. 47 new listings and only 47 sales and only 107 new listings. They had under 45% sales to new listings ratio. That's pretty slow. Like that's like almost buyer market territory, right? Like if you're looking at North Calgary, maybe you can get a deal, right? Maybe you can negotiate a little bit stronger and try to get a better price on that listing. If you're looking to list your property in North Calgary, let's make sure that you understand that, because 45% sales to new listing ratio is quite low, right? You want to make sure that you're pricing your property correctly, you're getting good marketing on there, and you're actually going to sell, right? You don't want to be a statistic and you don't want to be on the market for too long. The extreme seller's market is gone. You want to make sure that you're being smart and you're putting your home up at a right price. And this is again where that AI tool will help you out. So you've got the inventory leftover homes at the end of the month, the months of supply. Again, you can see North Calgary, again, 2.5 per months of supply, which is going upwards of that buyer's market territory, the balanced market territory. And you can see East Calgary's 1 month, right? 14 sales, 16 new listings, 87% sales to new listing ratio. Things are still moving, right? Very small numbers, but things are still moving in that quadrant. You've got your year over year price growth, your month over month, and then the actual price differences themselves. You can see that North Calgary, again, kind of picking on North Calgary here, last month they saw a $4,600 decrease, and then this month they saw another $1,100 decrease. Now, if we look at Northwest, they had a $1,200 increase last month, but look at, they had an almost $8,000 decrease, right? But they still had 74% sales to new listings ratio. So you need to paint this entire picture together of why Northwest has saw such a gnarly decrease, but they had a higher sales to new listing ratio. This is where it's super important that we actually go over the market together. So if we actually click here, we go to Townhouses and we go over here, we go to results, right? You set up a Zoom call with me, you go in here, you want just an introduction call, you book it in. We're gonna go over this stuff together, right? We're gonna look at the market, we're gonna go down here, we're gonna see when the last sale was. So if we actually go here, it's configured by contract list date. We scroll all the way down. You know, you've got a couple pendings. So there's a couple things that are pending, right? When's the last sale? Right here. Nolan Hill, 2 of them didn't have any conditions on them. 529 sold for 525, and then 649 sold for 649, right? So they're still moving. One's in Nolan Hill, one's in Renfrew, so north and city center. And here's a perfect example. Nolan Hill sold for 99% of list price, so it actually sold a little bit under what it listed for. So again, making sure that you understand these things in your community, in your quadrant. Very, very, very important. So let's continue on here because I don't want to make this video too long. Look at the sharp decrease of the year-over-year percentage, right? We were upwards of 20% for like 8 months, right? We were at 20% year over year. We were right there. Pricing was increasing pretty dramatically. Now we're dropping down very quickly. This is not uncommon in this market, but you just want to make sure that you understand pricing is still increasing. It's still at 15% year over year. It's just not at the extremes that it was at 20% year over year. So I would imagine the townhouse market is most likely going to see some increases going into 2025, but we might not see the extreme increases as what we did in 2024. So here's a good chart. 2021, you know, we went up a little bit, but we didn't take off. 2022, we absolutely took off. And then with the interest rate increases, the dramatic increases that we saw in 2022 really slowed the market down. 2023, absolute skyrocket, slowed down right near the end of the year. 2024, even though we're seeing some some interest rate decreases, we are seeing a slowdown in the market. We're seeing a pretty high level of inventory compared to what we're used to, but I don't know if we're going to see that decrease for too long in the apartment sector. I would imagine we're probably going to flatline, right? We're probably going to see some flattening like we did here and here, but 2025, I'm anticipating we're going to see some increases in price as we have in the past. So thank you very much for everyone who's watched these videos. Go ahead, comment your questions, let me know your thoughts. I'm more than happy to explain things. If you want to go over the MLS together, if you want to book a Zoom call, please go ahead and do that there. More than happy to walk you through whatever is necessary for you to gain the best understanding of the market so you can actually make good, sound decisions. Thank you very much. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.